Wednesday in Woburn. I'm your host, Samantha Stone. I am recovering from a very busy and exciting weekend. Glad to have all of you with us again this week. We'll start first with Mayor Concanon as always, and then we have a couple of great guests who are going to talk about other things that are happening across the city. Welcome, Mike.
Hi, Samantha. How's it going?
Good. So we were very fortunate on Sunday. Mother Nature was kind to us as we had our first Live Free Fun run and
Yeah.
walk and festival, and there was lots and lots of people there and lots of good stuff that was happening. What was
Yeah.
one of your big takeaways?
It was a huge crowd. First time event. I was really impressed. And kudos to Mackenzie Dezek for organizing it. I know you helped her quite a bit. And, again, for the first time out, to be able to draw such a crowd and all those sponsors and just people walking by, joining in, I'd say it was clearly a success. So, not to put any pressure on her, but I think it might be something she'll want to consider doing again next year.
I
I
think
was,
so too. It was really wonderful, and it was, really Mackenzie's vision, and I was glad to help just sort of help some of her vision come alive. But it was really a great way to bring people together.
yeah, I was particularly moved by the statements by the speakers there, talking about their personal involvement with these issues and how it impacted their families, and it's such a tragic story, and you really feel for the people going through it, and it's nice to get together for a cause and to try to raise awareness and raise money and highlight the resources available, but when you hear the personal stories, it really does hit home. So I appreciate the two speakers, having the courage to get up there and speak like they did and to share their stories. And, that to me, that was particularly moving.
I agree. It was amazing. And one of the things I loved about the event is we had young children there, we had older adults there, we had everything in between. It was really an opportunity for people to come together from all different kinds of backgrounds, all different fitness levels and interests, and have a shared view of helping each other out and meeting and talking. And it was really a lovely day. I'm not gonna lie, I was exhausted when I got home. My feet went up, and I didn't do too much after that for the rest of Sunday. But we had a blast, and I hope Mackenzie's proud because it was
Yeah,
really an incredible day.
definitely. Lucky on Friday night, went to the graduation, which was great. We didn't have to postpone it into the
Yes.
weekend. I feel bad for the folks up at the St. Anthony's Club. Their festival was impacted somewhat by the weather, but having been an attendee and actually a member of the committee for years up there, I know that not much stops them. So I hope they had a good crowd and it was still a successful event for them too. I wish the weather could have been better for them.
Yeah, I know they did have a little bit of break in the weather at one point. I think they tried to squeeze in some good food and some music and things.
Yeah,
And I agree, it's a lovely day. And next year, I'm sure it'll make up for it with better weather for them.
hope so.
Excellent. We have another chance to get together as a community this Saturday. Flag Day is coming up, and there's all kinds of things. I'm personally excited to be there. We'll be giving out some fun things for folks in the community, and looking forward to meeting everyone and having a good day. But I'm curious what your favorite part of Flag Day is. I know you love tradition.
I like the fireworks. I really do. They do a spectacular job. They seem to go on forever. And I really appreciate the Kiwanis Club spearheading this and doing such a great job every year. There was a change a few years ago where we opted not to go with the carnival, and I think it's working just fine. I think people are happy with the environment down there, and it's a family friendly event. Goes through the afternoon into the evening and wraps up with again very impressive fireworks that might rival Boston's. So I guess I'd say that's my favorite part. But again, just being able to get together as a community and see people you haven't seen in a while and partake in what is a big Woburn tradition. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree with you. Fireworks are always a ton of fun. I remember sitting, gosh, my kids probably won't want me to remember how little they were the first time we went, sort of cuddled on a blanket watching the fireworks, and I'm sure they will see them without me this year as they're adults. But it is a lot of fun, and I know Sam Walker's been a big part of the Kiwanis Club and supporting them and really bringing this new approach to life. There's a ton of fun things that are going to be happening.
Yeah, Sam Walker's is terrific. They step right up and help out so many times in the city, and they're spearheading with the Kiwanis, the lead sponsors of this event. They're a great community partner. We're really happy to have them in Woburn.
Something less fun. There was kind of a tragic event that happened at the 93 overpass last week. They had someone, I believe they jumped, but I didn't know if there was any more information. We have had a few people kind of outreach and ask some questions. If there's anything more you might be able to share about that.
Yeah, I was actually listening to the radio in my office. Call came in. Good ending. We unfortunately had to attend a few of those over the years, and just a tragic situation. You know, it's just horrible to think of what the person was going through, what the family's going through, the people on the highway who, you know, observe it. It's life altering for those folks. And I feel bad for our first responders who respond to these situations, and it's their job and they're professional, but they're human beings and they have compassion. And I talked to the chief, fire chief this morning, and police chief, make sure that our folks are doing okay, and that they're able to deal with the tough stuff they have to see. I don't really have a lot of details. I'm told it was a gentleman from out of town. Our heart goes out to his family, but it kind of did bring me back to a few of the tragic incidents I had to deal with, and it's just sad all the way around.
Yeah. It makes another event that's happening next weekend even more important. There's a kickball tournament, which is a fun thing, but really they're
Yeah,
there to raise awareness around suicide prevention. And unfortunately, when we hear something like what happened on 93, it reminds us that it is something we actually need to pay attention to, need to raise awareness around. And our hope always, including what we did at the fun run, was to let people know there are helpers here. And
yeah,
if you need it, please ask. And if we don't know how to help, we'll find somebody who does. And hopefully, the kickball tournament will be an opportunity to remind our community of that as well.
yeah. And it was, as you know, it was started by a couple of high school students, and
Yeah.
they've done a great job. They've kept it going every year. And as you said, the main goal is to raise awareness of the issue and to make sure people know that help is available. Cannot say it enough that there is help available. As desperate as someone may feel, there's always someone who can help. So we try to get the word out, and this kickball event is a fun way of doing that. I actually
Yeah.
participated a couple of years in playing kickball, but I think I'll be a spectator this year. It's usually a fun time, though. It's a day-long event, and a lot of laughs. And I encourage people to come out and join in, either play or at least cheer on those who are playing.
Yeah, it's actually a really fun way to feel not helpless when we hear about something like that happens that's tragic. It's really hard to say, well, what can I do? This is a great way to get out in the community and be with other people and do something that's fun but also important. So we hope to see folks there. Because of Flag Day, I'll be there a little bit in the morning, and then I know I'll be heading over to the library field. But it's going to be a great day, and Woburn, and
Yes,
hopefully Mother Nature is going to cooperate.
I hope so. This kickball tournament is fast becoming an annual tradition of Woburn, which is it's really nice to see yet another tradition spring up, and people can mark their calendars and make sure they show up every year.
Yeah, it is great, and those former students are now young adults entering their next phase of life. But I love that even though they are in different stages and different parts of their life, they still come back to Woburn and
Yep.
and host this, and have really made this part of a community tradition, and bring newer students into it, and
Yep.
help provide a framework for them. So it's great all the way around.
It is.
Excellent.
Great.
Last thing I wanted to touch base with you on is next week we have our next town hall meeting on the 16th. And we'll be pausing at the beginning of that town hall to make a very special recognition before we dive into all the audience questions.
Yeah, so we the Resident Impact Awards, trying to find people within the community who have stepped up over the years and contributed probably more than their part. And we have a gentleman this time around, Charlie Culhane, who was a lifelong public servant. He was a Winchester police officer, been in Woburn most of his life, helping out in any number of ways, uh, literally any number of ways. And
Mhm.
one area of focus is assisting with veterans groups and the veterans ceremonies. He's done so much throughout the years. He's assisted several of the Veteran Services offices with the ceremonies, the memorials, and it's really important that we pause and recognize the people that make all these things happen. And Charlie is certainly one of those. He's also uh, stepped up to help us over at the Golf and Ski Authority. He's a member. He'll be the next chairman. Um, I don't know when he'll start slowing down, but I hope it's not anytime soon. And we just want to say thank you, Charlie, to everything you do, for the city of Woburn. And this will just be a small way to try to offer some thanks.
Excellent. I hope lots of people come down and cheer him on, and hope some of them will stay and ask questions of the town hall forum, but most importantly come down and say hello and support Charlie. He does incredible things. Thank you for
Sure
joining me
does.
as always.
Thank you.
Excellent. We're going to talk to Carla up in just a minute. We're going to talk about election coverage this year because, as many folks who watch will know, because of my new role in the city, I won't be able to do those interviews, but Carla's going to do that. But before we chat with Carla, I want to talk about another important way for us to get engaged in the community. Welcome, Jim Joyce from Friends of Horn Pond.
Hey, good afternoon, Samantha. How are you?
I'm good. I know we had a very sweaty day at Library Field where there was lots of people cleaning up around the little pond there last week. Thank you for helping organize that.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, that was a hot day. I think it was the hottest day of the year so far. But we got a lot of in a short period of time. We got quite a bit of debris picked up, and it turned out to be a good event. A lot
Yeah,
of smiling faces at the end, happy people, which was makes me happy.
it looked fantastic. I'm so grateful for all of that work. Was there anything unusual you found? I know when we do these cleanups, sometimes we find funny things that you wouldn't expect to be left behind. Anything you found around?
Well, we found two things that I thought were interesting. One, well, we found two old metal chairs that were in the stormwater stream, and they'd been there for quite a while because one of the residents had said that she'd been looking at one of those chairs for 4 years,
Oh
and
my
so we
goodness.
finally got it out of there. And then the other thing that we found that I thought was interesting was uh, an old have a heart trap that was just sitting in the stream right before the pond. But so we got that out of there too. But we got the whole thing cleaned up, the pond or the surrounding area, the stream banks. So I was pretty happy.
That was amazing. Excellent finds. I know when I got there, Counselor Viola and
Right.
Jeff Dillon, even though he was injured, were kind of cleaning up some of the hedging around the gazebo even,
Yeah,
and it looked great. You guys worked so hard. Thank you for all of that. And your
welcome.
work's not done. We know that there's a lot of important things we do to not only pick up debris and trash and things but to keep our waterways clear. Sometimes we have to deal with invasive species. And one of those species at Horn Pond is water chestnuts, and not the yummy ones that we eat in our fried rice and other stir fry kinds of dishes. These are different water chestnuts. Tell us a little bit about that plant.
Yeah, so these are invasive, non-native water chestnuts, and just a quick, fun history fact: they're native to in Eurasia, and they actually found their way into this area of Massachusetts in the late 1800s, and they were actually planted on purpose over in the Fresh Pond area. But little did anyone know they'll take over anything. So just a little fun fact on that. That's how they got here. But the plant itself is so it's particularly it's a pervasive plant. It'll grow to 12 to 15 feet long. Most of the plant is underwater. The real main part of the plant, though, are the leaves at the top that form what they call a rosette, and that rosette has a spiny type of nut that's on it, and that's the seed pod. So if left unchecked, what happens from July to the first frost is those plants just continue to grow. They drop the seed pods. The seed pods go into the bottom of whatever the riverbed is, or the lake, or the pond, and they can remain viable for 12 years. So when you think
Wow.
about this, yeah. So when you think about this, 1 acre of water chestnut, invasive water chestnut, will generate enough seeds to grow 100 acres of water chestnuts the following year. So to say that they need to be removed is kind of an understatement. So why do we want to monitor them? So they do two things. They block all the sunlight in whatever the body of water is. When they decompose, they will choke off all the oxygen level in that body of water, and that will prevent anything from going into that water body. So for us at Horn Pond, what's particularly of interest is the river herring migration. And what we don't want to do is we don't want to have river herring migrating, but then have a decrease in oxygen, which causes them to die, along with the other species that are in the pond as well.
Yeah,
So
it sounds like something we wanted. The good news is it's actually something that with a lot of helping hands, we can help make a really big dent on that. And you've got an event coming up with Mystic River Watershed Association. Did I get it right? I
that
always
is
feel like I'm
correct.
going to get the acronyms wrong.
No, that's correct.
Coming up at the end of the month. Tell us a little bit about that event and what we'll be doing. And in this case, we'll be, people will be on the water taking care of it, correct?
That's correct. So this is going to be an a really great event, interesting event for everybody. It's in partnership with the Mystic River Watershed Association, Friends of Horn Pond, and the city of Woburn. So, conservation, it's the city and conservation has had a big part of this. So it really is a great partnership. It's going to be on June 28th. Rain date is June 29th. Let's hope for no rain on June 28th, right? We don't want that. It's going to run 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. There are going to be 3 shifts, so volunteers can sign up online, or they can come down that day and they can sign up as well. But there's 3 shifts: 9 to 11, 11:30 to 1:30, and then 2 o'clock to 4 p.m. We're going to be taking canoes out into the lagoon. Um, right now, the plan is to have 15 canoes. Boston Paddle is donating them for the day. 2 in a canoe, with baskets supplied by the Mystic River Watershed Association, and it's a hand pull on the water chestnut plant. Now, you don't have to get the whole plant. All you need to do is get the top of the plant and the nut that's associated with it. That's the part that we want to remove. So it's
That's a
all
good
hand
relief.
pulled.
You don't have to be pulling up 12 feet or,
No,
whatever. It reminds me when you talk about this is my brother-in-law has a boat and he has lobster traps. And you think, oh, I'll just pull up the lobster trap. You don't realize how heavy they become when they're down there. This is not
exa-
that. This is
exactly.
a much easier process and actually quite a lovely day to spend with someone on the water. So
Oh,
hopefully we'll get lots of people sign up.
yeah, I hope so. It's great. So there's two people can volunteer for the canoes, which is all done online, and there are a waiver process that's associated with that. So when you sign up, you automatically have the waivers to go through. So that's one, and then that's the crew that goes out on the lagoon and pulls the chestnuts, and then we're going to have a volunteer group that's going to be on the causeway at the bridge between Foul Brook and the main pond, and we're going to have a 10-yard organic waste container that's there. So when the canoes come in, we'll have a volunteer group on the causeway that can empty the water chestnuts into the yard waste container, and then of course you go back out on the lagoon again. So again, 3 shifts, and we're looking for volunteers for both the canoes and for the shoreline crew as well.
I love it. And thank you so much for organizing that.
Yeah.
We'll make sure that our producer will make sure that the information's on the screen for people to want to
Right.
register, Jim. Thanks for always championing our community and our environment and helping make keeping Horn Pond as well as lots of other areas in our city enjoyable for all of us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Excellent. Next up, Carla, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Yeah, so I'm not going to lie. I'm a little sad about having to give up the election interviews. It's something that really was what started today in Woburn a while back. We wanted to use it as an opportunity to get to know it, but I can't think of a better person than you to take over doing those for me. I'm super grateful that you are willing to do that, and I know you'll do a great job of asking questions and helping all of us get to know those candidates. Turns out we have quite a potential some races coming up across school committee and also a couple of wards potentially will have some competition. So appreciate all the work that you're going to do in advance. One of the things I wanted to ask as we were chatting is, get from your perspective, why you think doing this is valuable to our community and using this medium as a way to share information.
Sure. So cable access is such a valuable tool for the community, especially when it comes to local elections. It gives people a chance to hear directly from the candidates without all the noise you may get online. It's local, it's focused, it's accessible. This is a great way to help voters get the information they need and feel confident when they head to the polls.
Last election, I was very bald, but still determined to do live election coverage. And Carla, you joined me that day, in part because I really wanted someone to chat with and have fun with and get perspective, and in part because I wasn't sure I was going to make it through the show. But did do that, was able to make it through, and had even more fun with you than I thought. Tell me a little bit about what that experience was like for you.
Sure. It was such a blast, one, to be with you. But what I loved most was the energy, just being in the moment as the results came in and getting to talk through what it meant for Woburn. It was also a chance to really connect with the people, with what people care about and who was in the space with us. Working with you and Woburn Public Media team to bring that live coverage to the community felt like we were doing something really important together. So I'm really excited about being able to do that again this year.
Yeah, it was really a fun experience to do that. And we don't often in local elections get the opportunity to do a lot of in-depth things. Our papers and some of our local clubs do some really nice Q&As. I think it's a really important part of the process. Sometimes if we're lucky, there might be a forum debate-ish like environment. But this opportunity, as you said, for people to speak for themselves and us ask questions that people are interested in and are asking us is so valuable. And I'm curious, because we look like we might have is it a preliminary that I'm not sure that's what it's officially called. Yeah. Mayor Concanon is shaking his head to confirm it is a preliminary election this summer. So we've got a little bit of work to do for some of those contested races to get that in and make sure people have an opportunity. When do you envision starting the interview process?
Sure. So we're aiming to start the interviews in August, right after the nomination deadline. At that point, we'll have a clear picture of who's officially on the ballot. One of our top priorities will be the school committee races, since there will be a primary scheduled, at least at this point, for August 26th. So we want to make sure voters have plenty of time to hear from those candidates before heading to the polls in that preliminary election.
Excellent. I don't know. I did not get a chance to pull the latest list of people who have certified yet. I think the last one I had might have been over a week old. I don't know if you have something more current, but I know there was a potential for Ward 1 to have 3 candidates as well.
Yes. I also have, I think it's like a week past. So, yes, but that would be the other priority. If there's 3 candidates in that ward, then we will have that preliminary as well.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for stepping in and helping continue the tradition of letting our candidates, who we all appreciate, it takes a lot of courage to step up and run for office, to do the job and make time for it, but also just to kind of put yourself out there and go through and meet people and answer questions and really sort of fine tune perspectives about things. So I'm grateful for all the candidates who take the time to meet with us, and I'm very grateful for you to do this over the summertime and try and get in as much as we can, at least around the preliminary election, and then we'll also do all the candidates as we always do as we lead up to the full election in November.
Great. No, I'm really excited. It's going to be interesting to meet the people who are stepping up to run. These candidates aren't just names on ballots; they're your neighbors, they're teachers, they're business owners in town. So they're people who want to be involved, and I'm really looking forward to hearing their perspectives and give them the space to talk about it.
Excellent. Thank you, Carla. As always, when there's so much going on in so many ways for you to get engaged in our community, whether it's learning about candidates and who are running for office, whether it's pulling water chestnut seeds out of the water and helping keep that a healthy body of water, whether it's coming to a kickball tournament or Flag Day and just being with each other and enjoying what our community is about. I'm so grateful to live in a city that allows us to do so many of those things together. And every week I get to meet new people, even as long as as I've been here, and I feel very grateful for that. Before I let all of you go, I just do want to mention we have another special event. It is the same day as the water chestnut event, but it's very different and an audience. So I know we won't be drawing folks away from that, but we do have a Survivors 2025 event. And this is really born out of my own experience with cancer. And I've teamed up with the social worker, oncology social worker at Winchester Hospital to run a survivors event for those who have survived cancer. So for those folks who are interested, there's more information about that on the website, and we hope some additional folks will join us. We probably have spot for 15 or so more people to join us that day, and I think it's going to be a really great uplifting event. I know for me personally, it helps me process everything that happened by doing something like this. So awesome, great things happening across the city. We're really glad to have that. And Woburn, as always, please continue to take good care of each other.